course, the topic for this is going to be your 2022 goals, kind of what you want to do for the new year. So we'll be covering that, and we'll just go in order. That way everybody gets a chance. And then if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask people and stop them. But before we get started, we always pitch in. So what we do is we do a quick elevator pitch of what we do. Dwight, I know you kind of went in detail on what you do, but it's really good practice for us as business people to say what we do, because oftentimes you're behind a computer and you write what you do. You make these huge slideshows and gigantic presentations, but you never actually verbalize it. So we always practice that at the beginning of our discussions. So my name is Mickey Gaminol, and I am an ASVAB tutor. You can find me at asvabdomination.com. If you know anybody who's joining the military, check me out on asvabdomination.com. And then we'll go in order. So it's going to be Mom, then John, then Mark, and then Dwight.
Paula Williams. I am Mickey's mom, and I also run ABCI, which is we help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. I am also John's wife. So more than half of us are related on this call.
Cool.
Yeah, what she said. I do the back end stuff for ABC. I'm CFO, finance. I'm also network security, and that's become a bigger part of it than I really wanted to be, but it's necessary these days.
Yeah, I'm Mark Parry, Global Aircraft Group. I'm a certified aircraft appraiser, pre-buy consultant on maintenance on mostly business jets and failed aircraft sales, and expert witness and pre-buy, or not pre-buy, but pre-purchase.
My name is Dwight Cox. I'm the founder and CEO of ARtanker.com, the nation's first U.S.-owned air-to-air refueling firm. We fly at 35,000 feet and give off highly flammable gas from our airplane to another one.
Shoot.
That is
all right,
so
excellent,
cool.
excellent. Yeah, yours is a lot more exciting to say. Selling more aviation products and services doesn't have the same ring to it as highly flammable at 30,000 feet. But
Appreciate that. It's just that tickles people when I say that. They go, "What? Tell me more." And I go, "Okay, gotcha."
Heck yeah.
That is a
Literally,
great
you got 'em.
elevator speech. Mm-hmm. Mark's, yours is fantastic too. I know you've been working on that, and that's sounds really good.
Cool. All right, sweet.
Little COVID brain today, so you have to excuse me.
Oh, not a problem. It's
No worries at all, Mark. No worries at all. We're good. We're all friends here. So I'll go first. As far as 2022, my wife and I actually put together all of our goals at the end of the year. And we have it on a whiteboard that's in the office, so we are never too far from realizing what we want to do. We have health, wealth, wise, home, little home projects that we want, some fun things that we want to do. We have dog goals because we have dogs, so we just put dog goals. And then community, so things that we want to do in our community. And then one of the best things that we added was things that we're proud of, because I think that that's something that we forget when we're making goals, is you don't necessarily think about all that you've accomplished. It's always on to the next. What are we going to do next? And so I was very proud of myself, right? Very self-satisfied, which is pretty typical. But I was stoked that we took the time to say all the different things that we did, because then we can kind of look back and think about, are these things in the direction that we want to go? So that was really beneficial. But as this is about business, and this may go in line kind of with you, Dwight, is I'm looking into more government contracting. I want to work more closely with recruiting offices for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, Space Force, Marines, and all those guys. So I am trying to do more of that. And then simultaneously, I'm also trying to build my private business as well. I'm trying to get more private one-on-one clients, more VIP clients, rather than just doing the group tutoring that I've been sticking with for about a year and a half. So definitely a lot of major goals, but it's going to be a big year. Like, I have no doubt that, like, right now, it's not even January 15th. And I got plenty of time. I've already made lots more progress than I expected. Even in something as slow as government contracting. Like, I have my DUNS number, my cage number, I'm starting to get my SBA credentials and all that sort of thing. So I am happy that they're all listed, because I would definitely forget them if they weren't there. But those are some of the main things that is going to come through with Gammon All Tutors over the year 2022.
Just a quick comment on one thing you said, and that is what you've accomplished. And I always used to tell people, when you're climbing a mountain, sometimes you need to stop and take a look from where you came from, and then relax for a moment, maybe buy yourself a toy, and then continue.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. That's cool.
Definitely. Yeah.
I love that you did it with Sheena. I think that is a really important thing, because then you've got somebody in your corner and you're in her corner, and you guys know that. And it's just so cool, because one, it's accountability, and two, it's support, and they know what you're doing, and the whole "how was your day" conversations become so much deeper and better and cooler, because you're into what each other's into, and you stay that way. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. No, she even started doing a lot more business stuff, because I started doing business stuff. And so now she's doing signage and, different things. She's taking it much more seriously than she used to. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to get her an LLC so that she can write off her nurse, because she's a nurse, she's an RN as well. And so then she can start writing things off. And so, like, there's a lot of facets of life that we never, like, if we weren't in communication, would never cross over. So it's really, really fortunate that we get along, and that she's kind of goal oriented like that. So it helps a lot. But yeah.
Cool. Mickey, you mentioned, and not to take over, but you mentioned your DUNS, your SAM, or your EIN and things like that. Are you in SAM?
I am in SAM as of last week.
Congratulations. And then, you can partner with your wife and make her.
Yeah, get the extra credential, right? Get the female-led business.
Right. So woman-owned WWB, woman-owned enterprise, and then it gives you another 5% SBA set aside. But really, just targeting that, Mickey, there's a ton of work in there, and those purchasing directors, they have to use SAM. Mm-hmm. And then if they say, hey, this is woman-owned, minority, veteran-owned, then it basically puts you on a very small list. And once she gets her first contract, then right, absolutely right. And then it's just a fire hose effect. That same thing with you, Paula, with your aviation expertise, getting into that. There's aerospace companies that are looking for consulting services, and they use SAM as the vehicle. Mm-hmm. They're required by law.
Right. Yeah, we had talked about that, and we were in SAM a few years ago, had one contract, one military contract, or it was actually Department of Defense contract. Is that right, John?
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a pain in the tail that we never did it again.
It is absolutely, once you get in, right? Yeah, it is painful. Mickey talked about it. It is absolutely the most painful thing you're going to ever go through with it. And it's slow and it's clunky. But once you're on the other side, it's a good place to be. And most of us, like myself, I just don't have time to manually be in that machine and looking at opportunities and negotiating. So I recently learned from a consultant that he actually leases that. He actually provides that. He gives that functionality to a company overseas, and he goes, here's my criteria. I do all of these things. Here's all my what is it called? not my cage codes. What
credentials?
Like credentials.
Yeah.
my EINs or my NACE codes, right? NACE codes mean something, and then he goes, this is what I'm looking for. Quick, and here's my threshold, not less than $100,000 deal, with this upside. And then they go into SAM, they pare it down, and they go, here's your small list. And then he responds to those 3 or 4 items in a week, instead of having to go through hundreds that just don't work. So he, and for him, it's worth paying, this guy overseas to sit behind a computer, $1 an hour.
Yeah. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you go through the classic way, like I'm stuck getting PTAC emails every single day.
Oh,
and
my
so
God, man.
It's like 6 opportunities, 7 opportunities. This is an education consultant in Iowa or what, like there's just so many things.
Yep.
And so getting that, like the information overwhelm is definitely the reason that people don't get into contract.
Absolutely. Yeah. So imagine outsourcing that to somebody, like, let's say a young kid is in school or something, and he's got 4 or 5 hours a day. He's doing his college degree, but he can work for you 4 or 5 hours a day and vet that stuff for you. Oh my God. That consultant, when he told me that, I'm like, that's how y'all do it. That's how y'all.
A game changer right there.
He goes, Dwight, nobody gets in SAM and does that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
Good to know.
Right. Well, Mickey, I'm inspired. John and I need to sit down and put our goals on the whiteboard, because we have not done that. But what I have done is looked at our data from 2021 and said, how many approaches did I make? How many consultations did I book? How many blue folders did I send out, which is, our information packages. And I know for every 3 blue folders that I send out, one of them will become a client of some sort. So if I know those numbers, then what I can do is I can set my goals for 2022. I want to send out 10 blue folders a month. So it just becomes like a recipe book. If I need X income, I know how to get from here to there. I just now need to do the work to make that happen. So, that's kind of the direction that I've gone with my goals. Last year was our building year. We were building courses. We were building our team. We hired 2 folks to be on our web team so that we've got a 24/7 web response team if somebody's website goes down. We've got all that capacity. So last year was building, this year is selling. So if I boiled it down to one word, this year it's selling what we built last year and invested in last year, so we can make up that cash that we invested and also the energy that we put in. So anyway.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that's really simple. I like that your objective is super clear. Like this year, if it doesn't go towards selling, because I think that's what, like, we all think like that's the case, because right? Like we all want to sell stuff. But if you're intentional coming in with that year, you're definitely going to sell more because you're not going to be spending time building. That's not your priority this year. So
exactly. Great. And I love building. So, that's what I kind of squirrel between the two. If I don't force myself to make specific cycles, this is a build cycle, this is a sales cycle. And then, you get so much more efficient if you stay in that cycle for a while. So if I stay in that cycle for a full year, I think we'll do really well. And I've never done that before. So, I'm glad that we're working together, the 3 of us and the 6 of us, to hold ourselves accountable to that. So that's
Hey, Paula, are you measuring your, you talked about those 3 blue folders.
Yeah.
Are you measuring, like, man, I'm having really good success with blue folder 1B that has this content, or this particular client that does this and they have this median income and they have this type of, are you measuring and then when you get that data back, you can go, man, these 30 folders are all going to be blue folder 1As with this in it, and I'm going to target this group of folks so I can get 27 clients out of 30 submissions. You know what I mean? Be very efficient with your. Are you at that point where you can measure it down to that level of granularity?
I have not gotten to the point where I'm measuring the contents of the blue folder, but I do measure the front end of that, 70% of our people coming in that ended up getting to the point of me sending them a blue folder were from our podcast, in one form or another. So, I do measure the front end of who, how are they finding us? And I do measure, what do we know about these people? They are companies with, 5 to 10 primary employees, or less than 25 primary employees, we'll put it that way. And they are within this income range, and they are, most of them are either MROs or brokers or single professionals, those kinds of things we are measuring, but I haven't been measuring, and that's a good idea. I should probably do that. Because the contents so far have always been the same, except for a customized letter. If you've gotten a blue folder from us, so you kind of know.
I don't think I have. I don't think.
Goodness. Okay, well, you may get one this year.
You'll find out if you're one of them.
Right. Man, what is this blue folder thing? There you go.
Yeah, it's a snail mail blue folder that's in the mail. So that's fun. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with my goals this year, is just kind of focusing on one keyword, but measuring all the inputs and outputs of that concept or keyword, which is sell, so if I'm ever in doubt of what the heck I should be doing this year, the answer is always sell.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
John, how about you?
Well, since I support her and the company, I'm going to spend money. I mean, we spend, I don't know, between $5,000 and $7,000 a year on network security, and it works. I don't let anything into the network that hasn't been requested from the inside. When I'm away from here, I can't even get into the network. I built it, but that's by design. The other thing we're going to do is we, by probably October, November, are going to be accepting Bitcoin as a minimum, as a method of payment. And I don't mean Bitcoin through PayPal, but Bitcoin specifically to a wallet that we're going to set up. And the reason for that is easy. Bitcoin, yeah, it's flexible, but it's general. If you look at all the trend lines, it's going up. So somebody pays me in Bitcoin and I keep it for a month or two, I made more money.
Yeah. Over the grand scheme of things, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, and Mickey, you were saying, you'd be crazy to invest in Bitcoin, but you'd also be crazy not to invest in Bitcoin. Yeah. Was that you that said that?
Yeah. You don't want to go for broke with it, but you definitely want some eggs in that basket.
So exactly. So we're going to let other people invest for us.
Mm-hmm. I think there's countries now that are using that as their primary.
Salvador.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You're trying to be the Bitcoin capital of the world. So.
And there's 58 other companies that actually forbid it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is also a good sign. Believe it or not.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Cool.
Anyway, and that's the size of what I'm up to for the year. And then, of course, I support whatever she wants to do.
Which is very nice.
That's your answer, right? I do what Paula wants.
Right.
My goals is what Paula goals told me were there. You're smart, man. Yeah. Happy wife, happy life. Got it. Yep.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, I don't know why we need a whiteboard. She's right there.
Right. Just there. That's what Paula said.
All right, excellent, cool. How about you, Mark? If you're
it's just reassessing last year, and there was a lot of positives. We laid a good foundation with ABCI. It's really helped get things in place that I wanted to do and get in place, including some YouTube videos, and it's all connected and up and running. So that's a huge positive. And then also I went in this last year, I was able to, physically go to get the recertification trainings. I also joined the Lawyer Pilot Bar Association, and then I was invited to be a member of the organization of flying adjusters.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that will also open up another avenue.
Added a few more shingles to your wall. That's great.
What's that?
Added a few more shingles to your wall.
Yeah, put some more shingles on the wall. And so this year, ready to move forward with some advertising and see if we can make things happen.
Nice. Excellent. No, I think it's underrated how difficult it is to like start a YouTube channel. It's always like an anxiety thing. Like everybody says, oh, it's so easy, because it is, right? Like all the technology's there, but it's really hard to get those things beginning. So good. I mean, it's great. And now it's there forever, right? So even if I don't think you should, I think you should maintain consistency in YouTube at all as often as you can. But even if you were to let it sit for a year and come back, your views don't disappear. You still have X number of views on whatever content you put out. And so that adds to your legitimacy, even if it was 5 years ago. I mean, if you hop on YouTube right now and look up how to change your oil, you're going to see a video that was placed 5 years ago. And there's been 30 million views on this guy's video. And, of course, YouTube's paying him. But the amount that he can do with that kind of traffic is, it's just almost limitless. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So I think that's great. Building those structures is crucial if you're trying to maintain a business. So
right,
Mickey, I agree with you. It's easy to post it, right? It's a whole different conversation if it's done right, properly, efficient, and then the monetization of it, like you just mentioned, is I don't know how they do it, and I'm happy that they do. I just haven't figured it out yet. I'm like, how do I get Google to give me some 0.001 cent for every time somebody goes, right?
Yep.
I'm like, I'm in aerospace, man. Oh, I should have GE and Rolls Royce. Everybody should be paying me for this commercial, right? I don't know. Yeah. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but yeah.
But you'll get there. The thing is as long as you're putting out content, they like the day they approach you, it's not even a question anymore, right? Like
it's a win, right? Yeah, absolutely.
So. Yep. And, people get noticed and people are making, really good money for crazy things like knitting or, some of these backcountry pilots with the STOL landings and takeoffs and stuff, they're getting some really big sponsors and making a ton of money on some niche thing that you think, how many people are really interested in 10-foot takeoffs and, how many people are really into that, but a lot more than you'd expect.
You would think, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And every single person who is interested in it is going to see it. So that's great. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
In that particular case, a lot of jet pilots want to go slow and low in their off-duty time.
Yeah. So it's maybe a dream, even if they're not actually doing it. They want to. Yeah.
Cool. Well, good stuff, Mark. How about you, Dwight, for the new year?
I think I'm like you, Mickey. I'm older now, so I don't even set myself up for failure. So I don't even write that stuff down anymore. Not on a whiteboard, but I consistently since the mid 90s I have a list, and I actually got it in front of me, but I carry this list around every day. Wow. I had a major Air Force major that says, "Hey Dwight, every day at 4:00, I close my door and I update this list for tomorrow." And what that does is it allows me to enjoy my family and my wife and my children with not having to think about what I have to do tomorrow. So I take that 30 minutes. The secretary doesn't let anybody in. I don't pick up the phone and I update that list. So when I put it in my pocket and I don't think about it until I wake up in the morning, and then I look at it and go, what is on my agenda tomorrow? And I've been doing that and it works. So I don't build long-term, like I need to lose 50 pounds in 2022. I don't do that anymore because I know I'm not going to do it. So I just go for daily excellence. But Mickey, one of the big things I really want to focus on is mental health now. going through this journey as a business owner and trying to be dad and trying to be a company owner and right, it really actually, it starts to play on your mental health. And Paul, I'm sure that you can relate, and John, you guys can relate. It is tough to have to juggle all this stuff. So my focus really in 2022 is to get more mentally health for me. That's the single thing I really want to focus on.
Oh, smart.
Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I love the singular focus, just like with same with mom, but mental health is kind of the pool that keeps feeding you, right? I mean, that's key. That's great.
Absolutely.
Peace of mind is expensive.
Yeah.
But worth it.
You pay for it on the front end or the back end, right?
Yeah. So. John, you mentioned going up you were talking about the journey as you go up this mountain. You absolutely have to take a look at the beauty on the ambiance of your travel, right? You go, man, it's surreal, and I'm taking in all this great stuff, right? You reward yourself for the small victories. The part that you didn't say was, as you're going up the hill, you're chomping away at big trees and stick of thorns, and you're looking to your right, and people are on this cleared highway. And they're going up the same mountain, and they have no issues. They're just right. You're over here like, I'm trying to start this business, and why is it so hard to go up this? So I wanted to add that to your mountain journey, John.
I like it. They say that like comparing yourself to others is the root of all suffering.
Yeah.
But I think you make a good point. I feel a lot better when I compare myself to somebody who's like struggling with nothing. Like they're just frustrated about everything, but everything is not, all of their frustrations. Right. It helps me relax, definitely.
Yeah. Well, to go along with that, Mickey, years ago when I started learning to ski, after I got good enough where I could go down an intermediate slope, my instructor told me, he said, look, the only thing you got to do now to get better is to get a mentor. I said, that's what you are. I said, oh, no. No, you go up there and you start down the slope and you find a good looking girl that's really good at skiing and you follow her. And you will end up doing what she's doing. And that's the way you'll learn. Boy, was he right.
So that's the difference between an instructor and a mentor, right?
Yeah. And it's different every time you go up. You find one going down that, and go back up again, and you look around until you find some girl going down the hill and follow that one.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't have to be a girl.
Listen to this.
Look at Trish. Yeah.
Well, Trish, you and I can find a good-looking guy.
Exactly.
I'm all over that.
Hey Trish, I'm happy you're here. My name is Mickey Gavinal. What are you? So nice to see you. I'm happy you made it. What do you do? Kind of on the spot.
We can't see you, Trish. You got a camera?
I know. Yeah, I got in late. I usually like to see how I'm looking. So today I wasn't really Zoom prepared.
Totally understand. It's so good to see you, Trish. And yeah, Trish has joined us for a few of these in the past. And you're still running Charterly, right? The Canadian charter company.
Oh, that's
right. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I actually took a break last year and I disappeared, and you guys didn't hear from me for a while.
I'm so happy you're back. Well, I'm so happy you're here today anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. The whole mental health thing that Dwight was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Absolutely.
One thing that as a new business owner, as a startup owner, they don't tell you is like how much mental health and just how stressful it can be. And I think I probably had everything figured out more or less. I mean, I just had to do the work, but I just didn't realize how much the psychology and the mental health and the wellness stuff it kind of took me by surprise. So that was kind of my last year. And I actually realized that if my mental health is not good, then the business is going nowhere. So it turns out that was the most important thing. And I've sort of been taking it slow this January and getting back in slowly, I'd say, and still figuring out where exactly I want to go in 2022. I think I do have quite a few things going on, which is probably why I get so all over the place, all stressed.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like sometimes the opportunities just come in your way, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's good. Let me do that too. And then it adds on to what you're already doing. So that's what I did last year. And so this year, I think last year, my goal was to set the foundations and get established. So I think I'm still there at setting my foundations and getting established, because I kind of feel like I have quite a few passions, but I'm not sure where exactly I want to really focus on.
Right.
So I'm taking it one day at a time. I think the charter business has I think I've sort of got the systems in place so I can sort of look at other things while that is going on the side. I think, like you guys mentioned, that once you have the social media and like YouTube, I don't have a lot on YouTube, but once you're there, things just keep building, and maybe people you talked to a long time ago will be like, oh yeah, and so it's like, I think when you put in the work, so what I've realized is putting in the work, it really helps. And I think the more work you keep on putting into it, it builds and it adds up.
Definitely.
So I think that's kind of my year. But yeah, I'm also focusing a lot on my mental health. Now I'm more mindful about what I'm doing, so I'm not really burning the midnight oil and working all hours of the day and trying to be everything to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not sustainable. And I think anybody who starts anything realizes eventually, there is a crash. There's going to be an ebb and flow for anything. So I think it's great that you have that kind of recognition. That's awesome.
Right. And I love the fact that you are not a slacker, and you know this about yourself, and you do sprints and then you do recover, so it's, I remember, when we first met and you had all of this going on, and, you had just come from doing aircraft maintenance and management into the charter business. And there is so much and Mark can attest to this as well, and probably Dwight as well. Starting a new business is so much harder than anybody can even tell you. Even if they told you every single thing, there's still 1,000 things they haven't thought to tell you. And Mickey too, every one of us, I think, has started a business at one time or another, and has, there have been nights and days when you go, what the heck did I do to myself? So, I'm right there with you. And I think it's really smart for you to recognize that, because, that I think the time now is a little bit different, and it's so much more socially acceptable to do that now than it was maybe 10 years ago, when you're supposed to hide all that and hide all of your, overwhelm, and you're just supposed to show up with all the answers and be 100% all the time. And now I think people are almost a little bit more realistic. And if you look too perfect, they think there's something wrong with you, because there probably is.
Yeah, they know there's something wrong with you.
Right. So it's fine.
Paula, you're actually, I call that the John Wayne effect.
Yeah.
And there's no scientific, as a kid, I remember John Wayne was always together, right? You're right. I'm like, man, his stuff is he always had the answers, right? The same way with, what was the World War II general that had the 4 stars? Patton, right? And, you go, man, in these movies, dude, they were never stressed out. They never showed any emotion, right? And thousands of people were dying every day, and there was nothing. And that was that was what was portrayed to us, and we thought industry's supposed to be that way. And then I think we're getting to the point where, like, your Elon Musk doesn't they wear t-shirts, right?
Yeah.
Zuckerberg wears a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you got, if a guy comes in and he's got a 3-piece suit on, they're like, what is wrong with this clown, right?
Right. What is he trying to hide?
Right. He's not personable, right? I can't, oh my God. So I think owners and CEOs understand that I got a family, I got a wife, I got kids. Hey, the CEO status title is a job. It's a title. My job is to serve you, and I need your help to serve so we can make the company go. And so that John Wayne effect and that General Patton effect from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, that wasn't real.
No, they 24/7, saddle up and
that's crazy. Like, So I call that the John Wayne effect. And then I mentioned aeromedical evacuation, where we would, we'd read their medical history, and so in World War II in Vietnam, guys were actually losing limbs, right? They had bullet holes.
Mm.
But now with the Gulf War, that 20, 30-year Gulf War, the biggest thing that we see is mental health.
Mm.
And what it is not the kinetic guys losing limbs like, we saw in Vietnam. It is actually mental health. So now you guys are going to see 40 years of this 18, 19-year-old kid that came out of the Middle East with he's 40 years. We're going to have to deal with that. The VA and the medical community is going to, and people don't understand that. And until to your point, Paula, 10, 15, 20 years ago, we just thought people was crazy. Oh, he's just nuts. Send him to jail or send him to the crazy house. But it's mental health. It's all based on mental health. And we're going to the country has to finally get to grips that, hey, we need to get smart on mental health. And I think that's why it's becoming more common to be able to recognize a guy's mental health and go, it's okay not to John Wayne up. It's okay not to be the General Patton of your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What's funny is, coming into this meeting, I had told Mickey a couple of days ago, one of my goals that I'm going to mention is mindset, and then I didn't. I chickened out because, my clients, or at least my perception of my clients, the demographic of my clients is they aren't interested in mindset. They want tactics and they want this and they want that. And, I need to prove myself with getting them a big win before we talk about mindset. Right. But mindset is what gets you the big win,
Absolutely.
And so I've been disguising the peanuts in the Snickers bar, it's just, there is some nutrition in here, but we got to get you a good result first. What I need to do is, and I think times are changing enough that we can start leading with mindset, with a lot of our coaching clients and a lot of our folks that, if you're too tired and busy to fix anything, then that's the first thing we need to fix, is that you're too tired and busy to fix anything.
Yeah.
So let's figure out how to work on that.
So I need to depart. I've got a doctor's appointment in 9 minutes. So
speaking of such things,
you might want to roll out, maybe. That long to get in my car.
Well, it's only 5 minutes away, but still.
Oh, okay, all right.
You got 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding?
Cool.
Enjoyed this, guys.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Nice one, Trish.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Nice to see you guys.
See you, John. Thank you.
In conjunction with that, something that my coach says a lot is your focus is always either on self or on purpose. And there is definitely times where you need to be on self because you have to maintain that self-help and that mental health. But one of the biggest mindset shifts that I've seen this year is trying to focus more on purpose. And so oftentimes, I'll get anxiety about making a sales call or whatever my next step is. And if I have a purpose that's larger or a purpose that I believe in, then the sales calls actually become a lot easier. And that falls in line with a lot of what we talk about in book club too, with like primary greatness and all that. If you look at your business through what it's supposed to do, like kind of what the end goal is, the benefit to society or the benefit to your family at large, it can actually make it a lot easier for me anyways to work on my work on my business and work in my business. So, yeah. But that's great. I think it's great that there's been so much powerful work lately focused more on mindset. Brene Brown does a lot of stuff about the power of vulnerability and a lot of really good content on growth mindset versus fixed mindset, which is kind of like the General Patton. General Patton was not a cool dude. He was not somebody who would roll in that you could like have a beer with, it was all trouble.
He was an ass, right?
So yeah, I think it's important, and I think it's great. I'm happy that these conversations are a forum where we can perpetuate that mindset that you don't need to be perfect 100% of the time. I think that's great.
Oh, exactly. Right.
Coming out of the military in 20 years, 21 active, and you saw that a lot. And you saw this, right? As a general, you have to be that kind of that robot, and you can't have emotions and stuff like that. And I had General Darren McDougall was one of the best 4-stars I ever met, and he did not see rank. He had very high standards, but he was very approachable, and he would walk in the room. He didn't want that pomp and circumstance. He would walk in the room and talk to an E1 the same way he would talk to an E9 because he was concerned about that person's quality of life, the personal, and people loved him because of that. Because Paula, he didn't put on that, he didn't put on that image as if he was a 4-star. He felt humbled that he was able to make it, and he wanted to use that tool to help everybody else. So he had a great way, I guess, Mickey, to go from self and purpose. But people loved it. All I can say is people love that guy. Because he did that. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And yeah, I think everybody has to find their own style and their own balance within that self versus purpose. And maybe some people are like General Patton, and that's the way they are, and that's great, but that is certainly not the only way to be.
Yeah.
He might have been what we needed at the time, but times have changed. So
absolutely, and right, and that's what the country, and that was the normal back then, and now you can't. A company cannot really survive. Mm-mm. Now. Back then, you imagine back then having bean bags on the floor in the 60s. People just come in and flop down. What?
Yeah. Well, you look at the difference in the military between when John was in and when Mickey went in. The culture is really, really different. And I think it's for the better, honestly. John might disagree, but he's not here. So
yeah.
It's definitely changed. And it's trying to be as responsive as it can. It's tough with those sorts of things, but that's the beauty of us, right? Like we have a business that we can mold and shape however we want. So
yeah. And we're the ones, starting businesses, we're the ones who are going to decide, what are we expecting from our people? What are we, how are we going to grow our businesses? Who are we going to hire? What decisions are we going to make about how they need to act? And, so I think we need to think hard, about that and make sure that it's good decisions. And, we're not holding them to standards that make no sense, for our business and things like that. So.
Sure. You guys ever heard of a guy named Bob Chapman? He wrote a book called Everybody Matters.
No, that's not one.
He was recently selected by Business Inc. as the #1 business owner in the country.
Oh, wow. There's one for the book club list for next year.
Yeah. I'm looking at I'm like, I know I laid it down, and I don't, it's called by Bob Chapman. It's called Everybody Matters. And it's you can probably Google and make it while you're there, but his philosophy is a people-centric, it's a people-centric culture. And it works, and people love to come to work. And his goal is to create an environment where people will come to work for free.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know the subtitle on this is The Extraordinary Power of Caring for Your People Like Family.
Did you see it? Did you bring him up?
Yeah. I'm taking a look here. I mean, of course, 470 5-star reviews. It's
yeah,
great.
He's amazing. He's here in St. Louis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
amazing. I took a course called it basically was, why am I drawing a blank? And what it did was it taught you about your you guys take the Myers-Briggs assessment, right? You guys have done that, right? Everybody's done that, right? So he has a course that's similar. It uses some of the similar modeling, but what it does, it teaches you who you are. So, for example, I'm a strong D. I'm committed. I get it, right? But I don't do well with strong I's, which I introverts. Come across
this profile.
This it's really, yeah, Trish, is this really based on the DIS. It's not the DIS, but it's kind of based on the same model. And what it does is it teaches me to go, I got to understand that Paula's an I. So I got to, go in and I got to kind of think about how I project to Paula so I don't put her in a position of uncomfort. And it's not about, making Paula accept me. It's like, I got to do better. And it just changes the entire dynamic of the office. So General Patton would have did that. Right?
He didn't
the
care.
army formed around him. The army was
absolutely. So it is absolutely, Paula, to your point, it is absolutely critical that we apply those skills in our organizations to where people feel like they're part of an organization that they want to come in to work for free, and their hearts are there, and they're committed, and they're concerned about everybody else and not themselves. When you go home from work, you're not physically and mentally exhausted. You feel like that you can go back and share things with your wife and your kids, right? And then that Bob Chapman's whole goal is going, we got it wrong in the 70s. We disregarded people. We dogged out employees. They worked for 30 years and we gave them a watch. After that,
Yeah.
we didn't care about, and then that reflected in our divorce rates, and that reflected in our children, not developing as the next generation. So, Paul, you're exactly right. You're 100% correct.
Well, we're reaping the rewards of that now, with all of these people who quitting. That's, I think, a result of what happened
coming back
for the last 20 years of karma. Hello.
Well, yeah, you've treated them bad and you underpaid them for decades, right? And now you want them to go back and work in a restaurant for tip wages. Are you
not happening? Right.
I gotta work 2 jobs.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we're living in exciting times, and I'm just really curious to see what's going to happen in the next decade or two. I think like people are becoming so vocal about stuff, like all the stuff that was hidden under the carpet is now like coming out. And I think, companies are going to really have to make a shift because like the employees aren't taking it anymore. No. And I think, I don't know. I don't know how the generals, he said it's called General?
Darren McDough.
Yeah. I don't know how the like hardcore managers are going to cope, if they can. I don't know whether they'll be able to make that adjustment that's required, because like right now people can see through all the fake stuff, through all the performative stuff, through all the stuff, the advertising, the media, the publicity stuff. So people are really looking for real results now. And I'm pretty excited to see where this is all going to go.
Yeah,
those hardcore leaders and people that like general, they won't make it. The employers are not going to stand for it. They're like, that guy got to go.
Yeah.
We as a team said that guy he's not good. He's a cancer. He's not good. You're going to get rid of him, and leadership will get rid of him.
Yeah, and it's their obligation to, as well. They should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. I know that office hours are coming up, so but I think this was a great conversation. So we're just gonna pitch out. So we'll go in kind of the same order. It'll be me, then Mom, then Mark, then Dwight, then Trish. So my name is Mickey Gaminol, asvabdomination.com. If you need any help with the ASVAB, look me up.
Absolutely. Paula Williams, ABCI. We help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. And I am also Mickey's mom and John's wife.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Parry, Global Aircraft Group, certified aircraft appraisals, consulting, expert witness.
All right.
Dwight Cox, Every Fuel and Tanker Transport. If you ever need if you ever want gas transferred to you at 35,000 feet, give me a shout. I'm out.
Go ahead, Trish.
That's good to know. Trish, Charterly, we do private travel around the world. We're based in Ontario, so if you need to charter a jet, cargo, passenger flights, give us a shout.